Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. So today we are playing Murloc Paladin on wild mode with Anyfin can happen. Now over the last couple of months I've been used to playing, I guess what you'd call slightly more aggressive versions of Murloc Paladin, i.e. the decks that run Murloc Tidecaller and a whole host of other cheap Murlocs like Rockpool Hunter. You aim to go really wide on the board early, buff the Murlocs up, win the game. This version of the deck is a little bit slower. You're essentially looking to get your Bluegill Warriors and your War Leaders out early, along with Murkai, kill them off as quickly as possible, and then resurrect them twice with Anyfin can happen, charge the face, win the game. That's the plan. And now to get there, you have various ways of controlling the board. You have equality consecration combos. You have pyromancer equality combos. You have Sunkeeper Tarim to sort of neutralize large minions that your opponent may play. You have True Silver Champion. That's another thing that drew me to this deck. I've not seen True Silver played much. You see Rallying Blade played a lot now, but you don't see much play with True Silver Champion, so that caught my interest immediately. But this deck can push a fair amount of aggression. Call to Arms is in this deck, and here's the key thing. Getting a Dirty Rat out of Call to Arms is a big deal against aggro decks, because the rat has 6 health and it's a taunt. Powering through it is quite challenging. And of course, by getting the rat out from Call to Arms, you do not end up discarding one of your cards from hand, and that is pretty crucial. So this is an interesting take on Murloc Paladin, and we're going to take a trip back in time. We're going to go back to last week to the wild mode brawls, and we're going to have a look at a few games of this deck in action from the Tavern Brawl. So against a hunter here, the chances are at this point in the Tavern Brawl, the chances are it's Giants Hunter, right? We're at 7 wins. If you're going to get anywhere in Tavern Brawl with Hunter, it needs to be Giants Hunter. It's so effective. The Naga Giants combos are so broken in this game. However, you know, there are ways around it. Firstly, you can try and kill your opponent before they play the Giants. That's sort of one way of winning. You can be very aggressive. The second way of dealing with the Naga Giants combo is to kill the Giants and to kill the Naga. And this deck does have ways of doing that. We have Pyromancer, we have Equality. We just need to draw them. That's the issue. And the fact that he's played Cold Light Oracle suggests to me that this is Giants Hunter, and look, he's just given me an Equality. Now, at this rate, we won't even need the Pyromancer or the consecration to go with the Equality. If we can just develop a wide board, we can trade into any giants that he plays. So there's one way, there's one strategy around the giants problem. Now this is fascinating. Doomsayer gets played. You can tell what he's trying to set up, and he's probably drawn perfectly. He plays the Doomsayer on turn 4, and then on turn 5 he unloads with the Naga Sea Witch and the Giants on a clear board. That's the plan. Now, the Doomsayer has healed him for 7, which is pretty good. But my priority is to maintain a board. The question is, how many giants would he play? He only played 1. How interesting. Now, we have Tarim for turn 6 if needed. We have Equality. But I'm not going to use my Equality. And I'll tell you why. I'm suspecting that more giants will be coming down shortly, or at some point soon in this game. I want to save my Tarim. I want to save my Equality. The Dirty Rat is going to absorb 8 damage here, which is such an amazing thing. It's why Dirty Rat in this deck is so very good. The rat is on the board without the discard effect, and it's acting as a significant taunt. And it's highly unlikely that this hunter has a way to punch, a spell to punch through the dirty rat, which would then allow his giant to do 8 to the face. Very unlikely that he has a spell to do that, so he'll have to trade the giant into the rat. Now, in a worst case scenario, obviously the pyromancer is on board and we have equality, so it's all good. For once, against a Giant's Hunter or a Giant's Warlock, for once, I feel like I'm in a good position. I mean, what have I faced recently? I faced Giant's Warlock, Giant's Hunter. Are there any other decks that play Giants in any significant fashion? I don't think there is, but yeah. Quite often, you always feel like you're on the back foot against Giants decks, because you just don't have ways of clearing the Giants. So here, I'm going wide, and I'm killing off my Murloc in anticipation of getting value from Anyfin on a future turn. But it's sort of a race now, and I'm saying, okay, you have an 8 damage, an 8 attack giant on board. I'm not scared of your giant. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And he's responding in kind. He's saying, I'm not scared of your board. I'm going to hit your face. Well. That was the ideal time to play Sunkeeper Tarim. So we've been pretty conservative here with our resources. You know, we've just played Tarim, but we still have equality and we still have consecration in hand. We've not had to use it. And that was a really sweet win against Giant's Hunter. Right. This next little game. It's against a priest. Now, he had played Draconoid Operative, aka Draconoid OP, earlier in the game, and he'd been stealing cards from me. And here's the worry. What is he stealing? Basically, if he steals Anyfin Can Happen, he can summon the Murlocs that have been killed off in this game, and he can use them on me and win the game. That's the scary, scary thing against a priest that plays Draconoid Operative. But as we can see there, he's stolen True Silver Champion. Well, this guy has, you know, he's facing us at 8 wins. He's clearly a good player. Rag Lightlord is not to be underestimated. Yes, it can heal, but at the same time, it's 8 damage to someone's face. I mean, that's pretty important to note. I've really missed playing that card. Rag Lightlord, such an amazing card. And he's just stolen something else from me. Interesting. In the interests of Rag Lightlord hitting face here, I think committing that consecration and that True Silver Champion just to take down 1 minion was worth it. I think it was worth it. Wow, so mind control on the Lightlord, that is probably the best target in my deck for a mind control. And now he's getting healed, and now he's going to be able to do 8 damage to my face. We have to neutralise the Lightlord. The question is how. We have Keeper of Alderman in hand, so that's a possibility. But there is a Draconoid Operative on board as well that's going to be doing 5 damage. So I think that the best way forward here is going to be Sunkeeper Tarim, because with Tarim we can play a dude, buff the dude, so we get a 3/3. We can kill the Lightlord with our weapon, and the Draconoid Operative becomes a 3/3 rather than a 5 attack minion. That's my justification and my reasoning for playing Tarim here. I mean, we could have possibly played the rat as well to neutralise a big minion in his hand, but not sure. Not sure. Regardless, Sunkeeper Tarim is a pain to get through here. He'll have to use the weapon charge and his minion. And we're left with a 3-3, which is not the most significant thing in the world, but it's something. It's better than if I would have played Keeper of Alderman on Rag Lightlord. And actually, in this case now, in this situation, oh, there's a war leader. That's what we were waiting for. In this situation, we do have to be slightly scared. I mean, there is 9 damage on his board. So we do have to think about, you know, the potential for him to, you know, to do some damage over the next few turns. He is a spiteful summoner priest, and we'll see in the mind control. So we know then that Free from Amber is also in his deck. So past turn 10, you know, these priests can build up substantial board states with Free from Amber and with mind control. So, and just with Spiteful Summoner as well. So we do have to be cautious now as we move forward. But we do have equality. We do have consecration in hand. So that's fine. And we're just desperate now for this Murloc to die. Once this Murloc dies, I think we feel happy playing Anything Can Happen. So that's my thinking there. That's my justifications. And he's just going for board presence here. He's going for board presence. Interesting. Well, we just do it without any hesitation. And that's 15 damage. Here's the question. Do we trade or do we go face? I think the answer is face. Because now, no matter what happens, the second Anyfin is probably going to be lethal. Unless he has some kind of lethal here. I should have spent longer thinking about that. Because there's how much damage? There's a lot of damage that could come to our face. Does he have any way of killing us? 14 damage. What if he'd stolen Anything Can Happen? You see, there's the issue. There's the issue. Draconite Operative. And it looks like he doesn't have a way to find lethal, so he trades. And he's seen one copy of Anyfin, and he's probably thinking, surely, there can't be another copy. That's what he's probably thinking. And he leaves Murkai on the board. Oh, wow. Now I've got the second copy of Anyfin. But even if I didn't, I had True Silver Champion in hand, plus Consecration. I mean, there's different ways of finding lethal there. Okay, that felt good. 9 wins. So let's look at another quick highlight here. It's against a mage, and we're battling for 10 wins. Now, Dirty Rat, I referred to it earlier at the start of the video. It was the MVP of this match. There it brought out a courier, which is, you know, pretty useful. But Dirty Rat would get even more value for me. Look at what it brings out here. That's right, it brings out Reno Jackson. He is certainly not going to be rich in this game. Yeah, and that has basically secured us a victory. We know that secret is Ice Block, probably. Once we work our way through it, that's it. It will be game over. And we were very lucky. I mean, we were very fortunate to bring out the Reno there. But even if he had played Reno at some point in the game, you know, with 2 copies of Anything Can Happen, there is every chance that we'd be able to still work through his 30 health and still kill him somehow. But Reno certainly helps. Particularly Reno comboed with some kind of board clear. Now, his Dirty Rat was very unlucky. It brought out the most significant minion in my deck. Now, obviously, he had an answer for it. That's one of the things about Reno Mage. It's a very reactive deck. It reacts to things that happen. It doesn't push much in the way of aggression. It specialises in clearing boards with Meteor, Flame Strike, Blizzard, spells of that nature. Kazakus potions are other ways of clearing boards, so it just reacts to things as they happen. Now, in this situation, does he have a way of clearing my board? It's a shame that we could not put him down to 2 health. If we'd put him down to 2, now that Ice Block is gone and there is no threat of Reno, Consecration would have ended the game if he was able to clear this board. And Dragon's Fury, I mean, that's a pretty lucky pickup from Kabbalah's Tome. And there is a Desperation Kazakus. Interesting. So, what does Call to Arms give us? Is there any way that we lose this game, given our health total, and given that he's just played Kazakus and will play a big Kazakus potion next turn? Only gives us 1 minion. Okay.
Mind if I roll knee?
I was considering the healing there, but I don't think we need it. I don't think we did. This is a Reno Mage after all. This is not a Secrets Mage. It's not a Burn Mage. It's not a Freeze Mage. It's a Reno Mage. But he is now putting on a bit of pressure. We are desperately searching for that second copy of Anyfin. Tarim is a potentially reasonable play here. He'd have to throw both minions into Tarim. But I think this is fine. I like the healing here. I like to feel safe. Healing to a very high health total is going to prevent any chance of lethal that he may have with spells in his hand. Yeah, spells like that that can do ridiculous damage if they all go face. But Finja there, you know, taking one for the team, absorbing a bit of damage. And there it is. It's game over. Now, we could end this with Consecration, because we have Finja on board. But no, we do it in style. Anything can happen. Second copy. Feels good. Okay, so we were able to get 10 wins with this deck during the Wild Tavern Brawl. And, oh, the dust. I don't want dust. I have plenty of dust. I just want gold. I want more gold. I love hoarding gold. Anyway, is this a deck that I would play on the Wild Mode ladder? Well, definitely yes. It worked in the Tavern Brawl, and in the Tavern Brawl, people were playing some, especially sort of, you know, the higher win rates on Tavern Brawl. People were playing the best meta decks, and you know, this deck has a phenomenal amount of what I would call flexibility. You look at the Pyromancers, you look at the Equalities, you look at the Consecrations, and you assume that it's a control deck because you work to keep the board under control, neutralize enemy minions with your Wild Pyromancer quality combos, slowly play your Murlocs, build them up, kill them off slowly, and then eventually play Anything Can Happen to win the game. So people assume, looking at this, that it's a control deck. Well, actually, this deck can push a ridiculous amount of aggro as well, because you have Call to Arms, which is phenomenal at just putting stuff on the board, and the stuff that you put down can then just go around hitting face for a few turns, and sometimes actually you don't even need Anything Can Happen. Just you know, Call to Arms followed by a couple of War Leaders followed by Sunkeeper Tarim to buff the board can just win you games outright. So it's worth noting that this deck has flexibility. You know, you can clear board, but you can also be aggressive early on, as soon as turn 4 when you play Call to Arms. So fun deck to play. I'm used to playing the more aggressive versions of Murloc Paladin. This version is slightly different. You certainly don't see True Silver Champion played much anymore, and you certainly don't see Rag Lightlord make many appearances. So anytime you get to utilise those two cards, well, I'm all for it. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do end up playing this deck or a similar Anyfin deck on the Wild Mode ladder, you know, give me a little comment or two on what you think and how your games are going, and if you've got any recommendations for improving this deck. Are there cards you'd take out? Would you take out Rag Lightlord? Are there cards you'd put in? You know, do you feel True Silver Champion has a place in this deck? A lot of people play Rallying Blade now. Obviously it buffs Divine Shield minions. I mean, there's only shielded mini bots in this deck that have Divine Shields, but the more aggressive versions of Paladin play Rallying Blade. Yeah, it buffs Divine Shield minions, but it's also cheaper as well. You can play it on turn 3. So yeah, are there things you would alter in this deck? Would you include another copy of Forbidden Healing, for example, or is one copy enough? So yeah, tell me what you think, and yeah, I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.